Hello and welcome to the Dancing Geek podcast. My name is James and you can find me online as the Dancing Geek by following any of the links in the description below. Foes and whips to start with, and I don't have any finished objects, but I do have a couple of works in progress. The first I'm going to show you guys is my Corridon jumper, and I have progressed rather well on the sleeve since I last showed it to you. So, this is what I have now, and if I hold it right back here you can see almost all of it, and right down here was where it was last time I showed it to you guys. So I've got a fair chunk done. In fact, I've got all of the increases done. So now I just need to knit plain to the length of the sleeve. For those of you who haven't seen my Corridon before, the brown is some BFL that I dyed myself, and I'm therefore doing 2 skeins at a time to manage the fact that they're all different shades of brown. You can see the start of that adventure in my Dyer's Diary Part 1. I haven't put together Part 2 yet. It's all recorded, I just need to sit and put it together. But it turns out that editing is really laborious. I don't like doing it. The yellow is a gift I got from Willo Fibre Arts. So it's a little Dancing Geek Reverie custom dye-way, which is absolutely beautiful and I think goes with this brown really nicely. So the jumper itself has cuffs and hem in the yellow, because I'm just using up the rest of this, and then the body and the sleeves are all in this beautiful pattern, and then there's going to be a neckband of sorts with a little I-cord tie through it, so I'm quite excited. In fact, I probably just could show you the photo if I had it with me, but I don't. So, or maybe I do, maybe it's, there we go. There we go. So that's what it's going to look like. So where they've got light brown down here, I've gone for yellow, a bit more of a pop, so I'll use the yellow for the cord as well, just a pow! And then I've gone for a brown jumper as well. And I really like the pattern. I had it in my queue for about a year before I cast it on, and then I've been working on it for quite a while now as well, because I've sort of put it down and worked on other things in the meantime, what have you. So I've got the body done, front and back. This is the first of 2 sleeves, so once I've finished off, and I've got about 4 inches left to do in pattern, so it's not a big deal, then I'll be able to repeat that, and then it'll all just be seaming, and then a neckband and things like that. So there's not a huge amount left to do, and I'm catching up on some TV whilst I knit this, because I can. Whip number 2 also includes some stash enhancement. I basically got the yarn and then decided that I needed to cast that one on next. I don't normally do that, but I think now my stash is so big, I've realised that if I just put stuff into my stash, it's going to be a long time before I get it out again. And what I need to do is start going through my stash and choosing the yarn that I really want to play with next. So I've done that, and I've been digging through my stash and picking out my favourite skeins and deciding what's going to be what. And the first of those kinds of projects is a yarn that I've literally just received, and I'm knitting up into a beautiful pair of socks. Gorgeous! So you can just start to see, if I can keep my fingers out of the way and hold this up, that as I've turned the heel, the yarn's starting to change colour, but it's this amazing kind of speckled gradient. I don't really know how to describe the colouring on this. It's absolutely fantastic. And this is a custom dye that I got from John, who is Easy Knitter, from easyknits.co.uk, and I got 2 matching 50-gram balls. Now I don't use a whole 50 grams to make a sock. As you can see, I've already turned the heel and I've still got all of this left. So I'm hoping, and I'm hoping that I will get to the blue before I finish the toe. Apologies for the lighting. The sun is going in and out behind clouds today. Whoa! And actually, when it gets super bright like that, it hurts my eyes. And I've tried to stop and start and re-record, and it keeps doing it. So I'm just going to have to live with the fact that lighting is really bad today, and it's going to keep glaring out, and my camera's going to be working overtime, and I'm going to be blinded half of the time. Because better a badly lit podcast than no podcast at all. But trust me, this really annoys me, and I really want to be able to not be reliant on sunlight to make this work. But that's going to require an investment, shall we say, of money to have good lighting that isn't just room lights. So anyway, I didn't like the light in the other room that I used to record in, so I came back out here. There we go, we can see things again now. So, I'm hoping that I will get through the green and into some of the blue before I finish the toe. But the orange is my absolute favourite, and that's obviously the main feature, and then the foot will be in this other colour through down into what at least I hope will be a bit of the blue at the toe, maybe. But I'll just see, I'll see what happens, and the other sock will be the same. So I'm going to have relatively matching socks as well, which is unusual. But obviously they're not identical because, well, I don't suppose the speckling will be. I don't know. Maybe it will. Maybe I don't know. It's amazing. How does he do this? So yeah. So the sock that I'm knitting as well. It's the same size round as my generic Fish Lips Kiss heel sock. But I am using, I forgot the pattern. I am using the Spacious OMG heel. Ta-da! By Megan Williams. Who has just run Knit, I think, on Ravelry or Instagram or one of those places anyway. Now, I'm basically just knitting along following the pattern. And I'll be really interested to see what it fits like. I'm just going to knit the sock up. The only issue I've had is trying to understand what should be happening around the part where the heel and the instep rejoin. And I don't know how well you can see, but I've got a great big hole there. And to be honest, it's not much better on the other side. I don't know how well you can see that. But from here I'm like, yeah, that's no good. That's kind of pants. So I'm going to do a little bit of darning or what have you just to tighten up that corner, and it'll be absolutely fine after I've done that. But I would be really keen to hear from anybody who has more experience with the Spacious OMG heel as to how you've got around that problem. If I wasn't impatient, I could have, for example, contacted Ellie, who is from the FO and Die podcast, and who actually suggested the Spacious OMG heel to me as an alternative to try, and ask her, and she'd probably have a load of awesome hints and tips, because that woman is a fount of all knitting knowledge, and indeed much of the rest of the world. However, I am impatient, and I don't mind just darning the hole up and then working it out later. So, I want the sock already! So this awesome, gorgeous yarn, it's his sock yarn, so it's 75 superwash merino, 25 nylon. It feels really, really nice. I did actually do a little bit longer cuff this time than on my other sock, just because I kept going a bit, and then when I measured it I was like, oh, I've done 2¼ inches instead of 2. That's fine. I've done the same 6 inches down to start the heel and so on and so forth, so it'll all be fine. And yeah, I'm just going to knit along and then do a toe. Really simple, straightforward, nothing crazy going on. Sorry about the lighting, this really annoys me, but I'm just going to push through. Because I want to get it recorded and uploaded, and I've already tried and stopped and started several times. So, whip number 2 is an awesome pair of socks with a yarn that I am besotted with. No, really, look at the colouring on that. and just how it works its way down. And I'm really chuffed that although some of the transition from orange to yellow kind of happened in the heel, that it's not too glaring of a stripe. I mean, there is obviously a stripe there where you can see the colour change is a bit stronger, but it's not too bad. And then it's going to go into the greens and blues and what have you of this amazing yarn. Look, just spend a moment looking at that. Oh, beautiful. easyknits.co.uk, people. John is a genius. A genius! Okay. With that, it's time for some stash enhancement. Before I jump into it, however, there are a couple of things to note from last week's podcast. Number one, I made a total boo-boo when I was talking about the rainbow yarn that I bought from Midwinter Yarns. So I thought that Midwinter Yarn had dyed yarn that they bought from Ullcentrum, which is based in Öland in Sweden. I can tell I've been practicing my Swedish there, can't you? And listening to Maya, who went on holiday there and has some very similar wool from the same wool shop. And both Maya and the lady from Midwinter Yarn got in touch and said, no. So Maya was like, I think you can just buy that yarn. And the lady from Midwinter Yarn was very kind to point out that I'd got my wires crossed and that no, she just was reselling the Swedish yarn. So the skein of rainbow yarn that I got from Ullcentrum is just Swedish yarn that's been dyed in Sweden by Swedish people, I presume. All Swedish, all beautiful. Based on the Sami, and I am very happy to have that rainbow. I will be intrigued then to double check and see if Midwinter Yarn also dye or if they only resell, because I really got in my head that they dyed stuff. Who knows. For the moment, I'm just going to have to make do with that correction. The other thing that I need to fix is the fact that I showed you all of my yarn last episode, but I didn't show you is the stuff that I bought there that wasn't yarn. Doi, because I bought quite a lot of yarn, so I kind of got excited and forgot about the other stuff. So I'm going to go through some bits and pieces that I got from Yarndale first, then I'm going to go through everything I got from Bakewell afterwards. Suffice to say, I've got a fair amount of stuff to show you guys. Yarndale then, part 2. The non-yarn. This is a fun little find that kind of seems really obvious now that I've got it, but I never thought of it. And it's basically a little tub of this latexy stuff that you can squirt onto the bottom of your socks to turn them into non-slip socks. How genius is that? So obviously I bought the neon orange bottle because, hello, if you haven't met me before, I'm kind of obsessed with orange. You'll see that. And it's a really cool idea. I don't know if I would ever actually put it on hand knit socks, because hand knit socks are so special that I'd be worried about sort of ruining them. But I do have some non-slip socks. Excuse me. And the grip wears off on those, so I could refresh the grip on my sort of shop-bought commercial non-slip slipper socks and just be like, drawing all over my socks, yay! Which is just going to be awesome. So that was one of the things that I got. Another item were these little babies. I have been doing without stitch holders, which is what these are, for a while, and just kind of making it up as I go along and stuff. And then occasionally it's just been a right pain because I've been sort of using a darning needle to thread some waste yarn through the stitches and and all. Oh my gosh. And I thought, you know what? These were like, I think they were reduced to like a pack of 2 for £2. And you literally just pop the little rubber bit off the end and you've effectively got like a little DPN. Pick up all your stitches, cap both ends, and that's it. They're just going to sit there. They can't fall off. Super quick, super easy to put back on the needle and what have you, and it's all bendy, flexible and plastic and rubber, so nothing's going to get bent or broken. And that's going to save me a whole load of stress. So I'm hoping to get them to put them to good use at some point in the near future with a project that needs stitches on stitch holders. But at least I've got some now. So I feel like, you know, sometimes you just buy these things because then you feel like more of a proper knitter because you've got all these little bits, you know. Do you have tick list? Check, check, check. Ridiculous amount of stitch markers. Check. I do now have a ridiculous amount of stitch markers. You can never have too many stitch markers. At first I poo-pooed this. Now I know better. Stitch holders. Don't need stitch holders. Poo-pooed that. Now I know better. You'd think I'd learn. No, I always think I know best, and then I realise I was wrong. Okay, number 3 is, it's not the whole thing, it's one badge that I bought at Yarndale, but I thought I would show you my bag because the bag project that I keep going on about, the fact that I'm knitting, is to replace this bag. This is why the bag needs replacing. Yeah, this is what's happened to this bag. And it's not just there, it's also the base of the bag, and the back of the bag, and the front of the bag, and it's all just, the whole thing is old and falling to pieces, bless it. And the fact that I've got like badges stuck through it and grips stuck through it and everything doesn't help, obviously. It's probably what's caused most of the holes in the first place. But, there you go. You need a new bag, so I'm knitting a replacement bag which I will then also line with fabric and everything, so hopefully be a bit more sturdy. But this is my go-to kind of shove it over my shoulder and chuck my bits and pieces in the bag as I'm wandering off somewhere. So this is what I tend to have carried around with me most of the time. So yes, this is my bag that I go around with most of the time, and it has awesome badges on there. Big Dance, Licky Kitty, Space Bunny. A cool line from a computer program a friend wrote. I can't remember what that was. It's to do with a museum in Derby, which is a cool place, which has the Mini Maker Fair, which is happening this weekend, which I'll be going to. Countess Blues, Hurdy. So these are the ones I got prior to becoming absolutely knitting obsessed, and then they all turned knitting. DancingGeek podcast badge, which I forgot to take them with me this year. I just didn't take them. I think I took them to Yarndale, I forgot to give them out. I didn't even take them to Bakewell. Joy, which I got from another museum in Derby, which I thought was really nice. And then Chatterbox is actually a badge my dad gave me and used to live down here, but had to get moved because... But at Yarndale, I bought this badge. Oh gosh, this is going to be tricky, isn't it? There we go. All this, and I knit too. Well, there you go, exactly. So... I got a badge, but I thought I'd show you the bag that the badge is for as well. And when I get my new bag sorted, I think I'm going to buy like some nylon webbing type strap material. I think you kind of know this. It's the kind of thing you see on rucksacks and what have you. And as Ellie pointed out, I could just go to Primark and buy a belt, and it'd probably be cheaper. So I'll probably do that, and I'll use the strap as my bag strap, and that will therefore be able to cope with the badges a little bit better than some thin, I think Bangladeshi cotton? It was from a fair trade place, so I don't feel bad that it's Bangladeshi cotton, as opposed to, say, everything I'm wearing. Yeah, so number 4 is this fun little doobie. It is a higher sharp needle. So it's one of my few needles. In fact, I think it's my only brand needle that isn't Knit Pro. I'm just thinking in my head. I've got Knit Pro Symphony, a couple of needles, loads of Knit Pro Novas, but this is the first time I've gone for something that's not Knit Pro. This one is, I think it's 9 inches. Yeah, so you can get smaller, like 7 or 8 inches. My socks tend to I tend to aim for something like 8 inches around, so I don't know if this will actually be too big for doing circular knitting socks without having to muck about and stuff. And it's going to be interesting trying to knit just with these 2 fingers. I did have a quick go on some sock needles last year at Bakewell. I didn't buy them then, and then I regretted it later. So I'm learning, obviously, when you see these things, just get them, James. They're awesome. Just buy these silly little things. So I bought myself some at Yarndale from a very lovely lady who posed for a selfie with me, and also gave me some bamboo needles to try. Turns out, when I got home, I apologise profusely. I'm trying to remember the name. I want to say Julia, but I could be horribly wrong. It turns out I've already got a set, so now I have 2 sets of those. And I'm hoping they're not, you know, they're sort of, they weren't expensive, and that it wasn't a big deal that you gave me these needles, because I kind of got all excited and wasn't thinking, and then when I got home I kind of realised, oh yeah, I have got these already. Never mind. But, so as well as some extra DPNs, I got a cute little Higher Shops needle. So yay! And we'll see what happens in terms of giving these a go. I could have cast on my new sock project with my new sock needles. However, there's so much new things coming in. I forgot I had these. Forgot to show them on the podcast. Forgot that I had them. So the next pair of socks that I cast on, and it shouldn't be that long until the next pair of socks happens, I will try and remember to use my new sock needles and try them out. Okay, my last purchase from Yarndale is this beautiful yarn bowl. I love it. I absolutely love it. So if you watched my Periscope when I got back from Bakewell, you'll have seen this there, because I realised that I hadn't shown some of this stuff, so I showed this as well at the time. It's this gorgeous, I got it from Willo Fibre, and it's got this cute little sheep on it. How awesome is that? And then this really lovely sort of spiral design just to catch the, oh, so cool. Just to catch the yarn, obviously, as it's coming out. I added the felt little feet just because I think one of the corners or something on here scratched when I put it down on a table. Not massively, fortunately, but it was enough for me to kind of go, I don't want that to keep happening. So we've got some little felt feet left over from probably something from IKEA or something like that, and I stuck them on the bottom. So that I can sort of put it on any surface and it will be absolutely fine. So yes, that is the last of my non-yarn Yarndale stash enhancement. Now I can get on to the stuff that I got from Bakewell. I lied. There's one more thing from Yarndale which I forgot to show you guys. So you'll have heard me talk about tech editing if you've watched some of my previous episodes, and you'll have heard me mention Jolie, who is from Jolie's Kitchen. She has podcast, Periscope, Twitter, Ravelry, Instagram, yeah. And she has put together a course for tech editing. And when I got to meet her at Yarndale, I picked up a copy of her course booklet from her stand. So this is the self-directed course, as she's labelled it, which basically means it's the materials and the assignments and the answers, and you go through it yourself. So I've gone through that and had a great time doing it and loved it, and kind of came out the other side going, yep, okay, I now have a good idea of what it is I need to do when I tech edit someone's pattern. So that got me nicely set up for the tech editing work that I'm doing at the moment, which has been awesome fun. Thank you, Jolie, for telling me that tech editing even exists as an option, because it's amazing and I love it. Love it. Love it. No, really. Really, really, really. I'm a pedant and a nerd and a geek and I'm a mathematician and I love knitting and I love editing. I love finding the problems in instructions and stuff and fixing them and coming up with solutions, and I just any and all of those things. So the fact that somebody will ask for my help and then I can sit and ponder over a pattern and then go here, 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 here and here, and this is what you need to do to fix it. Oh, genius! And it means then awesome things like the designer doesn't then have a whole load of problems when they launch the pattern. So yeah, that was the last thing that I got from Yarndale. Now I can move on to Bakewell. I hope. Don't think I've forgotten anything else. Well, actually, no. But rather than going on to my Bakewell stash enhancement, I'm going to do some the very quick stash enhancement that happened post-Yarndale. Because I was still on such a yarn high after Yarndale. I kept buying yarn. So I got home and I went online and I bought more yarn. So as well as the gorgeous custom dye job that I got from John at Easy Knits, I also picked up this gorgeous rainbow. I mean, this thing is beautiful. In fact, I am going to get it out so I can show you it in all its glory. So this is his Deeply Wicked base, which is 100% superwash merino, which is super saturated in colour. And check out that rainbow goodness! Big grin on my face. Oh, it's beautiful. I am absolutely in love. Absolutely in love. I don't think I've decided what I'm going to do with this yet, so any suggestions on a postcard are welcome. I may suddenly remember that I had an idea of what I was going to do with it, but at the moment I can't remember it. But it's just beautiful. Oh, yum, 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 yum. So, oh, I've missed a strand somewhere. Oh, gosh. It's all going a bit Pete-tong. There we go. I've got it all to wind it back up. So, yes, Deeply Wicked base, 100% superwash merino. Colourway is Zippy. So for anybody that doesn't know, there used to be a children's TV programme back when John and I were little, called Rainbow, and one of the characters was called Zippy. So that's presumably the connection, and it is fingering weight, so it's 400 metres per 100 grams. Oh, good. Yay! Gorgeousness! So if you want to get in on this kind of action, you need to go and check out easyknits.co.uk. Now I happen to know that John's due to head up to the Glasgow School of Yarn very shortly, but you can still check out his shop. So have a look at that and see if there's anything you fancy, because it's got to be amazing. I got one other piece of stash enhancement between Yarndale and Bakewell, which is this amazing, just vacuum-packed yarn, people. It's so cool. And it's from the Knitty Mex Machina, which is who I'll be doing the first drawing of the giveaway for later on. If you fancy getting your own awesomely vacuum-packed yarn, then don't forget to use the discount code from the giveaway thread in the DancingGeek Ravelry group. So there is a giveaway thread, Linitium Ex Machina giveaway thread, and the first post in there by Linitium Ex Machina gives details of a discount code as well as the instructions for the giveaway. It's 15% off, which for me basically meant it got rid of the cost of international shipping, which was totally cool. And I got this beauty! So this is one of her 2 half skeins of Complementary Colors, a bit like the Willo Fibre that I got from Yarndale. These are gorgeous colourways. I can't remember the names. She's got... What am I trying to say? Let's arrange my thoughts, shall we? Okay. These 2 colourways are available individually as full skeins in the shop. However, I really liked the 2 colours together, so I bought 2 half skeins as one pack, which you can see in the shop. If you go and have a look, that's one of the options there. It's a really cool way of doing it, and there's some really cool patterns that would work up with this. Now, from last episode, Willo Fibre got in touch and posted in the thread for last episode, which I think was episode 26, a suggestion for a sock pattern that would look really good with one of these kits, either from them or from Linitium Ex Machina, because it really was like a colourwork sock, and I think it used either brioching or basic cabling or something, but you had like 2 colours interweaving. It's like, oh, it was amazing. I was like, oh my gosh, that is amazing and totally cool. So I had these kind of vague ideas of what it might be, but I had never thought of that. So, you know, I just don't know the patterns, clearly. But the yarn's gorgeous. So if you're inspired by something like this and you want to check out the episode thread for episode 26 for one of the pattern suggestions. I talk about some of the other ideas that I had for them in episode 26 as well, so you could watch that episode if you haven't already. And then check out the yarns available from our local friendly yarn dyers. But as I say, Linitium Ex Machina's we've got 15% off with a coupon code in the giveaway thread. And I shall be doing the drawing later on in the podcast for the first of 3 skeins. So there's still a chance to enter the giveaway for one of the remaining 2 skeins. Right. That is the end of my pre-Bakewell stash enhancement. I'm going to move on to my Bakewell stash enhancement. Jeez. I'm going to start with the non-yarn stuff from Bakewell so that I don't forget it again. And there's a few rather cool things here to show you guys. I'll start with a drop spindle that I got. It's almost certainly by the same person, although I didn't get it from the same shop, as I got the spindles from last year at Yarndale. But this one is a bottom whirl. So you can see the hook at the top. So I have a Turkish that's bottom whirl, but I don't have a plain bottom whirl like this. So I thought I would add this to my collection. This one is Spalted Horse Chestnut, which the lovely Adriel, I believe, informed me on Instagram that spalted means it's got a natural fault in the grain or something, which I took to mean is what creates all those cool colours in the base there. So awesome! Yay! Now I did have an interesting conversation, as I mentioned in my Periscope, with a little lady who spotted me knitting at lunch, and she really recommended making your own spindle using CDs. I haven't tried that, and maybe I will at some point, but I may have been a little bit like, oh my god, so many pretty things, and I wanted to buy them all, and so I bought myself a little something. But hey, maybe I can make myself another spindle, but it won't be as pretty as this. And this can sit in my spindle collection looking all pretty and making me feel like a real spinner, because I have several spindles, despite the fact I haven't spun anything in ages. What I have done is I finally got the fibre that I wasn't enjoying spinning on my spindle off, because I want to use that on a wheel. So now I can grab some fibre that I think will make a slightly thicker yarn suitable for doing on a drop spindle. We'll see. This is quite a light one as well. This is 25 grams, which I think might be somewhere between the two of my other two. I don't remember. But anyway, another spindle. And then similarly handmade out of wood, but different in terms of completely different use, is... oh, cool. I love it. A yarn feeder, I think it's called. So the idea here is you basically have a ball of yarn that you plonk on here, and then as you're pulling on the yarn from the outside, it just lets the yarn turn itself nice and easily. So it's really only a gentle touch to get it to turn. Now these are this was handmade, and the chap selling it from which is the knitting gift shop, was telling me all about the chappie that makes them and stuff. And they come collapsed in two pieces. If I can, there we go. So it comes in two pieces like that, and then this just slots it. What's really clever though is that the ball bearing contraption on the inside is screwed into both bits of wood. I want to know how you then put it together so that it doesn't want to come apart. But so cool. So I'm thinking, A, it's awesome and it's pretty and I want it. That's the first reason I got it. B, I thought when I get commercial yarn, I can pop it on here, and when I'm caking it up into a centre pull ball, it'll be much easier than having this thing. At the moment, I tend to have it in a big bag, and it bounces around in this big bag as I'm pulling on the yarn, and it spins, 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 and goes flying, and then what have you. So it'll just sit on here, and it'll just whiz round quite nicely. Sorry, that might be really annoying. A noise, couldn't it? It'll whiz round quite nicely. Alternatively, if I want to knit from the outside of a ball, and I can just use this instead of a yarn bowl to serve the yarn from, or what have you. So there's all kinds of choices in terms of, it's just another knitting handy device. But again, I did go a little bit crazy. And because I wasn't spending all my money on yarn, I spent it all on other bits and pieces this year. So, number 3 is this cool little felted bowl. So it's by Kipper's Ning Designs. Now, if you guys remember the orange little purse that I ended up giving away as a prize on the live podcast last year, that was by the same lady, and I got it at Bakewell last year. So this is Kipper's Ning Designs. And she does these cool little felted items. And she tells you like how much time it's taken to make her. So it says 3.5 hours to make. And it cost me something like £6.50. Yeah? Basically giving them away. You know, anyone who's thought about selling hand knit stuff and what have you, you know that it's just crazy. To actually kind of make anything like an hourly rate, you would be charging extortionate amounts. But it's absolutely delightful. So it's clearly something she really enjoys doing, and then she just goes ahead and sells some of them if people want them. And I think it's beautiful, and I think that's a real steal for £6.50. I mean, it is tricky, isn't it? Because it's one of those things where if it was selling for sort of like £15-20 or something, you might be like, oh, well, I like it, but not that much. Whereas at £6.50, you're like, oh, please, yes, just give it me. I just have that, that's nothing. But it's absolutely gorgeous. So thank you, Jane, who is Kipper's Ning on Ravelry. And it's made with merino and Jacob. And it's got hand embroidered little flowers. And even some of the flowers have a little bead in them as a little, how cool is that? Awesome. So yeah, absolutely beautiful. Really like that. I haven't decided what it's going to be. I'm thinking it might be something like a little key dish or something, so long as the keys won't damage damage the inside of it. If I think they catch or something, then I might just use it as some other place to have just a little bowl to put things in, keep them safe. Very nice. So this particular purchase, I was trying to think, it's not stash really, is it? So I shouldn't be calling this just stash enhancement. It was not something that I bought, but my other half actually came and met up with me in the afternoon in Bakewell with a couple of our friends. And we all had lunch together, and then I took them over to the yarn festival in the afternoon. And he saw one of the guild stalls. I think it's the Ashfield guild stall. And one of the ladies there had made these amazing stuffies. So he bought a little Mr. Foxy called Finley. How awesome is he? Check this out. It's a cute little face, little neckerchief, little Foxy on his jumper, little shorts, little socks. Little white tail sticking out the back of his shorts, little button, and his little black ears and his black paws. Amazing. Absolutely, really, really amazing. So well put together. Such a beautiful little face on him. Really well done. Really not expensive. I can't remember exactly how much he was. It says on his tag, his name is Finley. But it was really reasonably priced for a little handmade toy like this. And there's a debate happening at the moment as to whether he should go to somebody or whether we are allowed to keep him. I think we're allowed to keep him. And I think we will, to be honest, because he's just beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And far too nice to be wasted on a small child who won't know how to look after a little hand-knit toy like this. So, yay! And at least for the moment he's with us. Isn't he just so cute? He's awesome. Yeah, so I had to share him with you guys as well, despite the fact that I didn't even buy him. And then I have one more non-yarny item from Bakewell, and that is a new pattern that Claire from Natural Born Dyers has brought out, and it's called the Whirligig Cowl, and it's available on Ravelry. So I'm going to go and enter that. In fact, I think I already have entered it in my library and used the download code to enter it in my library. It uses a 4-ply yarn. It's based on their Peruvian Highland wool, Jukumari. And this is in the Campfire colourway. But I didn't get that particular yarn from them this time round, because I already have a whole load of their yarn. But I did get this pattern because Claire was showing me the cowl and everything, and she actually gave this to me. So thank you very much, Claire. So a really cool little pattern. In case it's not obvious, let's see if I can find the other photo. Yeah, here we go. So you can see that it's got some striping to it, what have you, and it looks a bit interesting, but you can't quite tell what's going on. That's what's actually going on in terms of the pattern. So it's not a difficult knit, but that's what it looks like when it's worn, and it's actually got a bit of interest going on to it, and it's kind of fun. So that's another cowl that I now have, and that will be added to my queue at some point in the future. My very, very long queue. I have a lot of patterns I want to knit. I have a lot of yarn with which to knit them. I apparently do not get enough knitting done. I'm going to have to live till at least 100 in order to get everything knit that I want. These people who say they wouldn't want to live forever and they'd get bored clearly aren't knitters. Okay, I'm going to go and get all of the yarn out now, and then I can go and show you the last of my actual stash enhancement, which is the yarn that I bought from Bakewell. So from Bakewell, I was fairly... Well, I was going to say I was fairly restrained. I was fairly restrained except at one stall. So I will save Lal Bear until the end. And the reason being, for anyone who knows Lal Bear, you'll understand immediately. She retired last year, and she was due to come to Bakewell last year. So she announced her retirement at Yarndale, and then she was due to come to Bakewell to get rid of the last of her stock, and then she was ill. Sorry, my brain's thinking three things at the same time. I just need to stop and focus. Then she was ill, so she couldn't make it to Bakewell. I didn't realise she then put all her yarn discounted online, so I was gutted that I'd missed that when I realised that. But I did see in the announcement for Bakewell that Lullaby was due to be there. Now I was like, she retired last year, so I actually wrote in and was like, is this right? But yes, it was right. Sheila even came into the forums and posted and said, yes, I'm going to be there. So she brought the last of her yarn, knocked down to like half price basically, super cheap. So I did go a bit crazy and just buy everything from her stall. I wasn't the only one. The sock yarn was gone within a few hours. So apologies to those of you who weren't smart enough to get there first thing and go straight to the Lullaby stand like me. I actually specifically got up early, like earlier than I have done in a very long time, in order to get there as soon as possible so that I could get to the Lullaby stand as soon as possible so that I could get to the first pickings of her yarn. So I was gutted when I realised that she'd had her shop discounted for a while. But never mind, that's probably a good thing for me, right? Saves me going crazy and buying even more. So, I'll save hers till last, but I did buy 3 other little bits of yarn whilst I was at Bakewell. The first I'm going to show you is from the Ashfield Guild stall again. This is a little bit of hand spun. So it's labelled hand spun wool and is this gorgeous rainbow. So there's 35 grams here. It's just cost me £4. Just a little bolt or blast of hand spun rainbow. I think it's absolutely beautiful. So I'm thinking, my plan for this at least, excuse me, oh, I can't be bothered to edit this out. I'm just going to apologise and move on. My plan for this is to have it like as a stripe in a slouchy hat, and then I will have something else as the crown and the ribbing, and then sort of work something out, something like that, which is this. So that's what it's going to become. That's my thinking anyway. I don't usually have a plan when I get yarn, but occasionally I do, and I think I've started to do that more than more. Is to really kind of buy yarn with a purpose in mind, so that I'm not just buying it because it's pretty. I have to admit, last year when I went to my first shows, I went crazy. I've tried to be better and kind of have a bit more of a think as to why I'm buying yarn now, and I'm not just buying it because I've never seen it before, which is what I did last year. So this one, hat. This one is my second skein from A Little Bit Sheepish, and it is in fact the same colourway, Can't Take the Sky, in the same base, which is 75% wool, 25% nylon, and the wool is Superwash Blueface Leicester. 425 metres for 100 grams, so it's a generous 4-ply, and it's lovely and squishy. And it's this lovely kind of semi-solid grey. And I used it last time, if for those of you who can't remember or haven't seen, in a shawl along with a variegated from Countess Ablaze, a bright popping green. And it just really made the green shine by having this nice mid-grey sort of background colour, as it were, alternating with that. And they were in sections, so that was really nice. You could also do it like a garter stripe or something, and that would also really work to make the colours pop and go further. I think it was one of Josh's patterns, might even have been a mystery pattern, I can't remember. But anyway, that's what I knit with it last time, and I'm thinking I want to do the same sort of thing. So I've got a muted grey sock yarn that I can then match with something else. Either doing like striped socks or something like that, or some kind of colourwork sock, or another shawl, or hat. I could use this to kind of be the counterpoint to my rainbow for my hat, or something like that. But again, had a plan when I bought it. Really nice. I have to admit, I really like A Little Bit Sheepish for the fact that she does these nice semi-solid colours, very reasonably priced for hand-dyed yarn. And you can just grab. She also does some lovely fibres and what have you that are much more variegated and multi-tonal. And she has some other yarns that she does. But I really like her selection of nice base colours. It's a bit like people have been talking about John Arbon's Knit by Numbers. And it's that kind of idea where she's got this great range of semi-solid colours, and you can kind of go, right, I want this as my base, and I'm going to do colour work with these two, and I really kind of like that as well. Having got all sort of carried away with the variegated yarns, you do realise that you suddenly end up with a whole load of individual skeins that are really hard to pair up. I did try and make a project with multiple variegated skeins. It looked awful, I hated it, I ripped it out. Which was my striping jumper, if you remember. And so having somebody who does really lovely yarn in really lovely colours, in just nice semi-solids that you can then use to accent your variegated or do colour work with, that's not as, well, that's much clearer. Hello, Rory! Oh, you guys can just see him there. Hello. Are you going to come and curl up with me? It's been a while since we've had a kitty on the podcast. Yay! Oh, you're wet. Not very wet, but you're still a little wet. So yeah, so my fondness for nice semi-solids, tonal, not even necessarily tonal, semi-solids I think and solids, has definitely gone up. A yarn that's really nice to work with and will accent your other colours and make a variegated look even better than on its own. Clever stuff. So that is number 2. Number 3 is ping! This lovely, lovely orange. So this is, this I would kind of call tonal. This one I think is more the semi-solid. And it's the Spice colourway from the Knitting Goddess. This is her Spartan base, which is 100% superwash BFL, and this is her Spartan 150s, which means you get 150 grams or 600 metres. So, I mean, I love the colour, and in fact, when I saw the Knitting Swede at Yarndale, this was the one she pulled out for me and said, I know that last time when I bought from her at Bakewell, I thought it was green and sort of this rusty orange colour, and it wasn't. It turned out to be more green and red, which is my Mystic Spiral socks. That's what I made them out of. And I still love that colourway, but I was a little disappointed, and part of that was, well, entirely that was due to the lighting that was at Bakewell last year. They've changed it since then, so the lighting was much better. It was white bulbs, and you could see the colours much, much clearer. I know, I love you too. I've got a little purring kitty on my lap. Hello, hello. Yeah, I'm a total softie for my cats. Yeah, so she showed me this at Yarndale, but I chose the mini rainbow on the carbon base at that time. However, I come to Bakewell and I have a new budget, and so I can buy myself some Spice as well. So that's how I justified it, which sort of made them giggle. But I'm sure you guys will understand. If you've been to multiple yarn shows, you kind of you take so much money to a show, you kind of don't want to go over that budget, but then you can have a fresh budget when you go to the next show, see the vendor and buy more from them. It totally works, right? Totally rational, not crazy at all. So I got some of this as well. So that's all the yarn that I bought that wasn't from Lolbear. So actually it's only well, about 300 grams in total, not quite 300 grams, but 3 little skeins of something. From Lolbear, however, I did get 8 skeins. So I'll just try and go through these. Now one arm is currently occupied by the cat, so it's going to be a little bit more tricky, but we'll see how I do. So I'm just going to pick up off the top. Right, first one is another set of complementary colours. So I'm not sure how well these will show on camera, particularly in here, which is quite a blue room. But the one that my thumb is resting on my left is a variegated or tonal blue. So it goes from a nice deep mid blue to quite a pale blue. So I would say that's a tonal. The one in my fingers is kind of a grey blue. It's tonal again, but it only really goes up to quite a light grey blue anyway. So they both go together very nicely, but there's definitely a sort of a grey look to one of them. But they both have a blue. They both are a blue dye by the looks of it. So those are on her Bounce Extra High Twist base. So they're 75% pure BFL, 25% nylon, and they're a high twist sock yarn. And I've got 50 grams of each, which is 185 metres of each. So I should be making something pretty out of those. Possibly more socks, I haven't decided. Another pair of skeins. These ones are actually matching. But again, you can see the blues coming through. This actually has blue and grey in the one skein together, so this is more of a variegated. This is her Daydream base, which is 100% organically farmed British Falkland Merino. That must be meant to say merino. And it's written Merino, but I'm assuming it's meant to say merino. Double knit. So these are DK weight, so they're not sock yarn. The others I've shown you so far have all pretty much been sock yarn, with the exception obviously of the hand spun, which is a bit more varied in weight. So 100 grams gets you 250 metres. Spun and dyed in Britain. This colourway is Winter Sky, and they're from the same batch because they're dated, so I know that they are the same batch. The reason I mention that is because I do actually have a third skein of Winter Sky on the Daydream base, but this one you can clearly see is a little bit different. So this one looks like it has much more grey and mid-tones and not as much as the deeply dyed blue, which is fine. And I actually didn't realise it was the same colourway name. It's also Winter Sky. I thought it was just another colourway that went really well with these, and that I could do kind of a project with 3 skeins of DK and something else or what have you. I don't know. I haven't decided what's going to happen with these. I've got 750 metres of something to play with there. We'll see. Excuse me. Yes. So. That's 3 more skeins of Larbears that I bought. Some more sock yarn, just her Bounce base, which is just 100% pure BFL, 420 metres for 100 grams, is this beautiful, bright I kind of, you know, again, those who know me know that I basically just saw this, picked it up and was like, yeah. I didn't look at what it was. I had no idea it was BFL and sock wool and what have you. I just was like, yes, I'm having this, please. Similar, but not quite the same, is this beautifulness, which kind of feels quite topical at the moment. It's festive. I was thinking sort of pumpkins and Halloweens. The colourway is actually called Conquer, so it's still very autumnal. This is the Daydream base, but it's Aran weight. So again, it's British Falkland, I'm guessing merino, Aran weight. Beautiful. Oh, there you are, Farah. Okay. Oh, there we go. He's like, if you're not paying me any attention, I'll bugger off. Excuse me. And then finally, because that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 7 and 8 skeins are this pair. If you, yeah, the lighting might go a bit funny. Oh, are you okay? Oh, he's going to the vet this afternoon. He's hurt his knee, and that's why he was struggling and complaining, because his knee's sore at the moment. So this is her Dunster base, which is 75% Exmoor blue face, 25% nylon. 100 grams is 400 meters, but it's a bit more, according to the Ravelry listing, it's a bit more of a sport weight than a 4-ply, which does make sense looking at it. It's got 2 plies, so understanding the difference between calling something 4-ply or fingering weight, and then the number of plies the yarn has, because you know we like to be awkward, and they do that lovely bubbling effect. So they're a bit more like a sport weight, but again, hand dyed Massachusetts colourway this is. I don't know if they are the same dye lot, and I haven't decided what's going to happen because they could be socks. They're listed as sock yarn, so I could just make lots of socks with that same colourway, or I could take advantage of the fact that I've got 2 skeins and therefore 800 meters, and actually make something with both skeins together. We'll see. I don't know. So like I say, with Lol Bear, I didn't really stop and think, right, what am I going to do with this? Do I really need it? What can I use with it? I just kind of went, pretty, and I'm never going to get it again. And I just was, you know, it was massively reduced, so I was just grabbing anything that looked awesome and that I could play with at some point in the future. That is Stash Enhancement. Oh dear. It's been a couple of long ones. And part of that is because I'm not recording every week at the moment. Obviously all the Stash Enhancement builds up, and I've been to 2 festivals over 2 episodes. But that'll be it now. I don't have any plans for, certainly not major Stash Enhancement, unless something grabs my eye, which it probably will, because hello. But we'll see what happens. I may start pulling some stuff out to de-stash, just because I think I got so excited when I first went around the festivals last year, that I didn't really realise how much yarn I was buying, and then how much I would have to try and knit up. And when you've got so much yarn, I find, because I've got so much yarn in my stash, I think I've got about 26 kilos of yarn. I worked it out. I find that I feel guilty, and it's ridiculous. It's not like super guilty, but I just kind of go, oh, well, I've got all this yarn, commercial yarn, say, that I've bought, and then I've got this beautiful, beautiful indie dyed yarn that I've bought. And I kind of have this conflict about, well, I bought this commercial yarn, I should use it. Versus, but I've got all this indie yarn, and that's so much nicer, and I just want to use that. Then you add in the whole, I should knit with the hand spun that I've got and been given from Fondant Fibre that I still haven't used over a year later. And it's just like, I need to knit with everything, and that's just silly, and that's stressful. And so, one, I'm just going to stop myself from thinking like that, and just enjoy my yarn, which is what I'm doing at the moment, and pulling out skeins I want to play with and not worrying about all the stuff that's left behind. But 2, if I genuinely don't think that I'm going to work with something, I don't need to keep hold of it. So I think I might, at some point in the future, consider doing a de-stash. To be honest, that's hard work, and I'm lazy. So I may just not bother. And I may just keep it all and just squirrel it away in a box somewhere so that I don't have to worry about it, and I can go and buy more yarn, because, well, my yarn's in the attic. So I had to go and buy more because I couldn't get it out. Right. Excuse me. I'm getting a bit twitchy. So I'm going to have a quick break now, have a stretch and something to drink. And then I will do the questions from Topher, and then I will do the Lithium X Machina, yeah, I said it right, giveaway. So that is still to come. And I haven't drawn it yet, so if you're busily, as I'm recording this, putting your entry into the giveaway thread, good luck. And I don't think there's anything else I'm going to need to go through today, so it'll just be those two after my short little break. But for you, it will be as if no time has passed at all. Okay, you know what? I've decided I'm just going to push through and get to the end, and then I can start loading the video into my editing suite. So, we're going to go with Topher's question, and we're on to number 7, and it is, what is your favourite curse word? Tricky. How do I do this and stay family friendly? Well, to be honest, I'm not sure I have a favourite curse word anyway. There's 2 reasons. 1, I like to be creative and I don't like to be pinned down. And 2, I don't actually swear that often. If I get into a sweary mood for some reason, I can turn the air blue. But most of the time, I don't feel the need to swear. It's just not something I do. So it's something I can do, and I've been around, and I'm certainly not offended by, or bothered by. But I was surprised when I shocked my uni friends by swearing, and they were like, "Oh my gosh, you never swear!" And I'm like, "What are you on about?" And they're like, "No, we've never heard you swear before." And it's like, "Oh," and I kind of clocked it since then. It's like, actually, I don't tend to drop sort of the F-bombs or S-bombs or anything like that. Certainly not in general conversation, but even if like I bang my leg or something, it's only if I'm maybe at home and it's just the 2 of us that I might at that point just go out loud with something. If, however, I have got to the point where I need to express some sincere anger, say directed at a particular individual, whether they be present or not, then I would never limit myself to 1. I would limit myself to the first, say, 50 that come to mind, in a beautifully arranged string, possibly forming haikus, rhyming couplets, or other iambic pentameter, just to really explain the depth of my rage. And to be fair, that really doesn't happen that often. Now, what would be interesting would be to record me driving, and whether I swear when I drive, because I do really enjoy complaining when I drive. Sometimes I just kind of go, oh, just relax, let it go, and just pootle along, and that's fine. But sometimes, just because, particularly if you're in city centre traffic, it's so frustrating because traffic's so heavy, and you're trying to work, and if you don't know which lane you need to be in and stuff, it's so hard work these days. Your stress levels tend to be quite high, and either you kind of just pull yourself back to grounded centre and just kind of go, right, it's not that big a deal, I'm just going to let go, I'll get there when I get there, it's fine, somebody will let me out if I go wrong, not going to be a problem, And sometimes I'll choose to do that, but sometimes I kind of just enjoy a little bit of road rage. A little bit of kind of going, oh my god, what do you think you're doing? Yeah, please, just pull in front of me without indicating, why don't you? And that kind of thing. And because I'm often on my own in the car, it's not a problem. It's when I do this and my other half's in the car and he gets a bit upset with me because I sound, it's actually not that fun to listen to somebody else whining and complaining and mouthing off and getting angry, is it? It's not pleasant to hear. So he sometimes tells me off if I'm doing it when he's in the car. But I'm curious because I've never really checked for it as to whether I swear when that goes on. I suspect I don't, because I find it much more cutting to speak in sentences rather than to swear. But anyway, so a favourite curse word would be something inventive, apropos, topical, and particularly poignant to the person it is aimed at. That would be my favourite curse word at that time. So, I can move on then, he says, segueing without any sort of attempt at linking the two, to doing a giveaway! Woohoo! It's bleeping amazing! So I have 3 skeins of yarn to give away, and I need to go and draw a winner. So let's see who it's going to be. So, the light is fading, but I am marching on regardless. because we've just got the last couple of minutes to do, and that is to let one lucky viewer know that they have won a beautiful skein of Linitium Ex Machina. And that viewer is C Gamble 526. So Christian, I'm not quite sure how you pronounce your name. I do apologise, I've not seen it before. You put a preference of Lothlorien as number 1. So you get your first preference as a first winner, which is the Lothlorien sock. So I will need you please to PM me with your contact details, your name and address, so that I can post these out to you. And yeah, congratulations. This is gorgeous and well worth the entry. Thank you to everybody who entered for putting good feedback on the website on there, and your thoughts and feelings about the colours, and just kind of really getting involved and making it feel like the giveaway was sort of really generating useful feedback for Linitium Ex Machina. However, the giveaway is not over. We still have 2 skeins of beautiful yarn to give away. So, if you want to stand a chance of winning either of these 2, and you have not already entered your feedback in the giveaway thread, you need to pop along to the Ravelry group, find the Linitium Ex Machina giveaway thread. In there, you've got the details of the coupon code for the 15% discount from the shop, and what you have to do to qualify for the giveaway, which is basically go and have a look at the new shop at linitiumexmachina.com. Have a good browse round and really think about what appeals to you, what causes you problems, what you like, what you don't like, what would make you buy, what would make you not buy, anything like that. So just things that would be really useful information for Linitium Ex Machina to know about their website, or their yarn, or just things you love, or something appropriate, yeah? But basically I've said I want to see a good paragraph of text. I'm not looking for quick one-word entries here. Not for something as special as these guys. So, just to let you guys know, if you didn't know already, these are the Glitter Sock Base, 70% Superwash Merino, 25% Nylon, 5% Stellina. This colourway is Warlock, and the blue one underneath is Star Trek Into Darkness. I've said that if you win, you can. I said when you enter, you can put a preference for which one you would like to win. So, an order of preference. So obviously, because what I've said is the people who have already entered, they are still in for the prize draw for the 2nd and 3rd skein. So Lothlorien has now gone. So if the next winner has Lothlorien as their first choice, they would get their second choice from either of these 2, and if there's nothing stated, I will just choose at random. But yes, I don't think there's anything else really to say about that, except thank you very much to Linitium Ex Machina, and congratulations on your new store for the gorgeous yarn, and for the giveaway for the podcast, and as well for the coupon code for the podcast. How awesome is that? So if you're not lucky enough to win one of these, or you want to get it in that amazing vacuum-packed packaging, then do check out the shop and maybe purchase a little something special for yourself. If, however, you would love to get a skein of some glittery sock goodness in either the Warlock or Star Trek Into Darkness colourway, then pop along to the giveaway thread, give your feedback, and enter to win. Right, I am definitely flagging, as is the sunlight, so I'm going to go before this turns out to be me recording in the pitch black. But as always, I love you guys, and I'm super happy to be back up and running on the podcast properly, and I will see you again soon. Cheers for now. Bye!